Good evening and welcome to Duffy Health Center Annual Meeting. I'm Mary Rahal, President of the Duffy Health Center and the Chair of the Board of Directors. And we're glad that you can join us for this event this evening. As many organizations have, we have chosen to do this virtually so that we can keep you and your loved ones safe and well. And we're hoping that you enjoy it in the comforts of your own home. We'd like to welcome our state officials that are here with us this evening, State Senator Julian Cyr and State Representative Randy Hunt. Thank you to both of you for joining us. Our order of business tonight is threefold. First, we're going to have a brief board meeting to elect our board officers and appoint our meeting chairs, committee chairs. Then we're going to have a short presentation of Duffy's community impact during the pandemic. And finally, we're going to present our awards. So let's get started. I'm going to call this meeting to order. The Governance Committee acts as the nominating committee for board officers. We present the 2020-2021 slate, including the election of the third term for both Kathleen Brissett and myself. Our board officers up for election are Kathleen Brissett, President, Paulette Shaw-Kerner, Vice President, John Murphy, Treasurer, and Andrew Singer, Clerk. The Governance Committee brings this slate to the floor. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you. So we're going to do a quick roll call to vote, and each member, when you hear your name, please say yay or nay. Carolyn, if you could assist me, please.
Hey, first up, Keith Benoit. Keith?
Yay.
All right. Kathleen Brissett.
Yay.
Jim Cullen.
Yay.
Great. Leslie Dominguez Santos.
Yay.
Mike Foley.
Yay.
Jeff Haddad. All right. Jeff doesn't seem to be on the meeting right now. So we'll move on to Susan Harrington.
Susan, do you happen to have called in on the phone?
Okay. Well, we can come on back to Susan in a moment. Bonnie Lodell.
Yay.
Chet Moore.
Yay.
John Murphy.
Yay.
Stuart Murphy. Okay, we can move on to Stuart afterwards. Mary Rahal.
Yay.
Andrew Singer.
Yay.
Paulette Shaw-Kerner. Okay, we'll move on to Rick Smiley. Rick?
Yay.
Okay, and I think we found Paulette. Martha Taylor,
Yay.
This is Paulette. I vote yay.
okay, great. And Corey Vilsant.
Yay.
And Caroline and Mary, Stuart Murphy voted in the chat.
Okay,
We
wonderful.
have his yay also.
Okay. All right, so that is everyone present.
Great. It's unanimous. And let's congratulate our new board members. Before I officially and virtually turn the gavel over to Kathleen, I just want to take a few minutes to say how truly honored I have been to act as chair of the board. I've worked closely with Heidi and her outstanding leadership, and I've seen what the staff has done, the skills they bring, the dedication they bring, and especially during this past months during the pandemic when there have been obstacles that no one ever dreamed they would face. They've been dedicated and they have continued to support our homeless community throughout the entire time. I have been privileged to be on the board and truly honored. So Kathleen, as I turn it over to you, you have provided guidance and support to the board, especially in the areas of development and fundraising. You've been a leader in the gala planning, and you served as the past chair of the governance committee. I know that our mission is truly in your heart, and I wish you the best in your years to come as president and chair.
Thank you, Mary. I'm a little in the dark. Sorry, I'm getting used to daylight savings time, so I'm in the shadows. But Mary, I just wanted to thank you for your contributions to Duffy over these many years. You've been such an incredible gift to us, and you've supported the staff with your expertise, especially with all your experience in human resources. You've chaired the Strategic Human Resources Committee over the past 4 years. You and Joe have supported Duffy with your time, your talent, your treasures, and we look forward to your continued leadership as past president and know in our hearts that you'll be part of this community for a long, long time. So big shoes to fill, and looking forward to my next years as president and hope I can do half the job that you and your predecessors have done over the years for Duffy, and you make it look easy, and I know it's not. So everyone will have to bear with me, but thank you very, very much for all your efforts. I guess my first duty as president of this board is to appoint committee chairs for the coming year so we can get some work done. So, before that, thank you, Joe. We have some flowers for Mary. Are we doing that now? Yeah, okay, so everybody, yay, Mary. Excellent. Perfect. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mary. I knew they were coming at some point. Perfect. So I'd like to next appoint committee chairs for the coming year. They are the Governance Committee, Paulette Shaw Kerner. For the Finance Committee, John Murphy. Thank you for your continued support in this role. For the Marketing Committee, Keith Benoit. Again, thank you for continued leadership here. I will be continuing to do gala liaison and advice and counsel to fundraising efforts and events. To the Audit Committee Chair, Andrew Singer, thank you very much. I know you've played multiple roles on this board and we continue to tap into your expertise. Thank you. The Compliance Committee is going to be chaired by Chet Moore. Dr. Chet Moore has been part of Duffy for years and continues to be taking on the Compliance Committee. So thank you, Chet, for your continued support. And Mary, thank you for staying on as the Strategic Human Resources Committee Chair. Much, much appreciated as you step down from the president role. Strategic Planning Committee co-chairs will be Jim Cullen and Martha Taylor. Thank you. So please join me in thanking these amazing volunteers. It does take a village. It takes a lot of work. These chair people do an incredible job to keep everything running. only because we have an incredible staff at Duffy that does all of the work for us and makes us seamlessly on the chair committee section. So thank you. So let's look forward to an amazing 2021. And thank you, everybody, for your efforts and your committee chairmanship. I guess we need like a fake clap. Thank you, everybody. It's hard when everybody's muted, but pretend we're all clapping in our houses. What I'd like to do now is turn the podium or the virtual podium over to Heidi Nelson, our CEO, and Pat Cawley, our Senior Director of Program Services, that will lead a presentation on Duffy Health Center's community impact during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic. And just to, briefly, it's been extraordinary what these teams have done. I echo Mary's sentiment in that we are all so amazed and impressed by the dedication and innovation that has come out of the last several months, even at a time of pandemic. The things that you all have done have just been incredible. So Heidi, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Kathleen and Mary. And let me add my comment of deep appreciation for Mary's contributions, Kathleen's work going forward, and our past president, Diane Driscoll. I've been so fortunate to work with 3 really wonderful women board leaders. And I just appreciate so much your support and your guidance over the years. You've given so much to Duffy, and I look forward to continue to working with you. Mary, one of the pieces that Joe brought in from the other room is a Revere Bowl that is engraved with our thanks for your board service and as board president. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if we can, let me just say, it's been quite a wild ride. It's been a journey. And I'm so pleased this evening to be able to share with you our story about how we responded to COVID. And I just want you to think throughout this presentation how your support of Duffy throughout this COVID pandemic has made a difference on Cape Cod. Next slide. So just a refresher, in this past year, Duffy Health Center served over 3,300 patients through 30,000 visits. Two-thirds of our patients are very, very poor. They have incomes below the federal poverty level. 2/3 of our patients are homeless because they've lost their housing and they've moved in with a friend or a family member, or they're living in some sort of unstable housing situation. 15% of our patients are living on the street or in shelter. Next slide, please. So when the emergency was declared, we really had to figure out what we were going to do as an organization. We took a look at our finances. We looked at a potential volume loss of 50% in visit volume because we had to shut our doors to bringing patients in on a regular basis through appointments. We did continue to see patients on a walk-in basis, but we knew that we were not going to be able to sustain the volume that we had under normal times. And if we only had a 50% volume we projected over a 3-month period that we would lose more than $500,000 over a 3-month period. But our leadership team and our board made the decision that we were not going to lay off or furlough any of our staff. And we decided that we needed to continue to serve our patients, and through the leadership of our legislators and the administration, we were able to pivot to telehealth. The administration allowed us to provide services telephonically and bill at the face-to-face rate, which made a huge difference for Duffy and for all health centers across the Commonwealth. Within 8 days, we pivoted to a telehealth model for both primary care and behavioral health. Next slide, please. And believe it or not, we did it. We challenged the staff. We said, if we can break even this year, we'll all share in our success together. And we did. We were able to maintain our volume, and we ended the year financially break even. And believe it or not, our patients loved telehealth, and our staff felt that it was a good model for them as well. So all in all, things were going pretty well inside Duffy Health Center and our ability to provide services. So now we had to turn a week and a half later and look and see what was going on outside of the four walls of Duffy. We felt like we had regained our balance internally, but we looked outside and found, next slide, please. We partnered with the Regional Network on Homelessness, led by the Barnstable County of Human Services and Beth Albert and Sean O'Brien, and the Emergency Planning Division of Barnstable County, and Cape Cod Healthcare, with the leadership of Paul Midzwicki. We realized that we needed a response for temporarily housing people who are homeless for social isolation if they were waiting for test results or were thought to be COVID positive, or quarantine when we knew they were going to be positive. With funding resources and testing support from Cape Cod Healthcare, we expanded our existing motel stay program to accommodate these patients. Because it was necessary to depopulate the shelter and the transitional housing programs on the Cape, St. Joseph's House Shelter, Champ Homes, and Homeless Not Hopeless in particular, the number of unsheltered on the streets of Hyannis burgeoned from somewhere around 25 people on a regular basis to upwards of 60 individuals. Most had no place to access hygiene services, and many were eating irregularly. So we had to do something, and the community turned to us. So now I'm going to turn it over to Pat to talk about that part of our response.
Thank you, Heidi, and good evening, everybody. And I apologize, my camera's not working today, and I am having a good hair day. Just want that to Okay, next slide, please. Okay, as you know, our world changed dramatically last March. The COVID-related restrictions had a significant impact on people who are homeless, even more so than us who we think we've had it bad. Heidi mentioned that the shelter depopulated, which resulted in more people living on the streets. But also what happened, all the restaurants had closed, other agencies that served homeless closed or changed the services that they were providing. With our partners, we were able to establish a shower program, and it did have a slow start. Taking a shower in a parking lot, not anybody's idea of an ideal situation. Initially, we had more buy-in from our donors, volunteers, and partners than we did from the clients. But it's true, if you build it, they will come. But you have to build what people need, and that's what we did. In addition to supplying clean clothing, soap, shampoo, and a hot shower, we provided TLC, case management, and recovery support services. The shower program has become a vehicle to engage clients in a whole array of services. Emergency medical care. We were able to give people who don't have cell phones, placements in detox, assistance with food, and any kind of applications that people were struggling with, we were able to do. All outside, socially distanced in our tent in the parking lot. And the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, 45 people per week. That's a significant number of the folks who are homeless in our community right now. Next slide, please. Food resources also drastically dwindled during this time. We did a quick needs assessment and design program to meet the needs in the community. When the Salvation Army stopped serving breakfast, we rallied the troops and established a breakfast program. Volunteers and staff prepared breakfast, literally served out a window at the Federated Church. Again, we're able to use this strategy as an engagement tool. Volunteers, case managers, front desk staff, and our spiritual care provider are always available Monday through Friday to lend an ear, give support, and assist with concrete basic needs. And many of you have already met Pogo, our one-legged brown bird that comes to breakfast every day. Actually, one of the people who are homeless actually feeds him in his hand. So through these programs, we've been able to do a tremendous job in engaging, in quotes, the most difficult, unquote, population. And what has been said earlier too, I'm just so proud to be a part of this agency, this community. I mean, from all levels, we could not have done this without all the community support and everybody who's being honored here today. And that includes staff, the board, leadership, and all of our community partners. So.
Thanks, Pat. Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
I really couldn't have gotten through this without Pat's leadership. Pat came to us as a manager in the Miami Healthcare for the Homeless program. So for decades had worked in emergency response through the Healthcare for the Homeless program for people who are homeless after a disaster or emergency. So she knew exactly what our folks needed and how to try to address those needs. And again, I'd like to also thank our Duffy Health Center staff who made the leadership team, our management team, and our board so proud each and every day with the professional and compassionate response you had to the pandemic. Our motto has been throughout this episode, well, if no one else is going to do it, I guess we should. Which is a nice segue into the awards portion of our program. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So it is my great privilege each year to confer the Cindy Glista Award to Duffy Health Center's Employee of the Year. We created the Cindy Glista Award 3 years ago in honor of our first employee nurse, Cindy Glista, when she celebrated her 20th anniversary at Duffy Health Center. This year's awardee is Nicole Ewing, Administrative Assistant for the Behavioral Health and Case Management Departments. Unusually this year, Nicole was nominated by both a staff person and a board member. So I've combined board member Martha Taylor's nomination with the nomination of Susan Childs, Duffy employee and cubicle mate of Nicole. Nicole's contribution to the successful operation of Duffy Health Center cannot be overstated. As administrative assistant, Nicole keeps many balls in the air while providing indispensable support to Pat Cawley and the entire staff of the Behavioral Health and Case Management departments. Martha reports that Nicole is very bright and extremely dedicated to following all proper federal protocols related to program reporting, the requirements of which can be complicated and somewhat mysterious. Nicole is a quick and eager learner and is always prepared to deliver any information that is requested of her with accuracy and timeliness. Susan Childs adds that she hears bits and pieces of Nicole's interactions with fellow staff members, consumer advisory board members, and vendors. She has the unique ability to communicate what she thinks and feels honestly while remaining completely professional and unoffensive. Nicole is studying for her nursing degree, and we know that she will change countless lives with her compassion, her strength, and her smile. And Heidi is adding that we hope her nursing career begins and ends at Duffy Health Center. Congratulations, Nicole.
So I have the honor of acknowledging Melissa Saunders for our 2020 Volunteer Award. About this time last year, my colleague Christina Wiseman and I were in extensive talks about expanding our community-based events. So we had been doing the gala, Duffy had been doing the gala for several years, but we really wanted to expand the community-based events. And out of the sky came Melissa Saunders. She had been connected to Duffy in her time and her treasure in the past, but she came to us one day and said, I'd really like to help you organize a community yoga event. And we said, what perfect timing. And so we started working with Melissa last winter for our first Wellness on the Water event that happened before the world shut down, thankfully, early last March at Witchmere Beach Club. She spent hours of her time with Christina and I and other staff in executing this beautiful event using her extensive network of yoga teachers and other folks in our community who have a heart for the work that we do, and Melissa certainly does. And for those of y'all who know Melissa, as soon as the first Wellness on the Water was over, we were having conversations about what are we going to be doing next year. We're really grateful for her time, for her talent, for her commitment to our work and the people that we serve. We're very blessed to have her. As you will be learning in the next couple of weeks, we are putting together our 2021 virtual series for Wellness on the Water, which we're really excited about. And Christina and I could not make any of this happen without Melissa's help. So we're very grateful for you, Melissa, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you.
Our President's Award. The President's Award goes to a stakeholder that makes a difference. This year, the board leadership team got together and we discussed it, and we said we decided to honor those staff that have truly risen to the occasion during the time of COVID. Kathleen and I are pleased to honor the Duffy Healthcare Associate Directors. They have shown outstanding leadership throughout this pandemic, not only in their willingness to lead, but to get in there and roll up their sleeves every day. They are as follows. Margie Burke, Associate Director for Clinical Operations, for her role in managing the medical support for the COVID hotel program. Anna Marina, Associate Director of Quality Improvement, for her project management. Brian Deal, Associate Director of Behavioral Health, for his leadership in moving the Behavioral Health Department successfully to telehealth. And finally, Danny Rodriguez, Associate Director for Substance Use Disorder Services, for his leadership in our shower program. Please join me in congratulating these fine Duffy managers. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mary. And let me also add my thanks to the work of our management team, the associate directors, who have done such a beautiful job coordinating with the community and also working directly with the staff to hold their hands and provide leadership as we moved forward, to be a calming influence, but yet driven to provide care to the people who need it out on the street. I can't say enough about this group of people, except to add that today is Anna's birthday. So we are very happy that she receives the President's Award on her birthday as well. So next, it is my great pleasure to honor State Representative Randy Hunt with our 2020 Advocacy Award. Randy is retiring, in quotes, from his seat, which represents the town of Sandwich and parts of Barnstable, Bourne, and Plymouth in the state legislature. Currently, Randy serves as the ranking minority member of the Healthcare Financing Committee, but we know him best for his role in chairing the Joint Committee on Mental Health and Substance Use Treatment and Recovery, which he chaired for at least 6 years and is now co-chaired by our other advocate, Senator Julian Cyr. Randy is known for crossing the aisle to co-sponsor legislation with his Democrat colleagues. On Ballotopedia, I learned that Randy wins his races with majorities of 60%. In Massachusetts, we know that means that many Cape residents cross the blue-red line to vote for Randy. Randy consistently attended our Health Center Week events, breakfasts and lunches, and always responded when I asked for him to sign on to bills that we cared about. What I note about Randy is that he is a great listener and has that CPA attention to detail, which made him an excellent legislator and advocate for Cape Cod and for community health centers. Thank you, Randy, and we invite you now to say a few words.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, and I appreciate the fact that you've posted a 10-year-old picture of me. As you can see, my hair has gotten a little bit grayer over that 10 years. But I do remember 10 years ago when I was first running for this office, on my push card, that's the thing that you hand out to people that you're trying to convince to get them to vote for you. One of the issues was to follow up on the 20 or so suggestions that came out of the OxyContin and Heroin Commission that had been doing work in 2008 and 2009. So that was on my card, and it was something I was very interested in from the beginning of my legislative career. And I did follow that and spoke with all of my colleagues about the issues that we had around substance use disorder, which has changed its name over the last 10 or 12 years because the vernacular we understand is important. But in 2015, we concluded a commission that had been set up. It was called the Commission on Substance Addiction Treatment in the Criminal Justice System, because quite frankly, there were far too many people that were serving time when the root cause of the reason that they were in jail, most of them in a jail, was because they had stolen things, gone into a house, pawned off $200 leaf blowers and what have you to raise money to be able to buy the next round of their opiate of choice. And then later, and I should mention that commission came up with 13 recommendations, among which was to really put a lot of effort into our diversion program into drug courts, and to look at medication assisted treatment, to put more effort behind that. And I have to say that Duffy Health Center has been at the forefront on that. And I congratulate everything. You even have a MAT team that was put together to deal with these things. And I saw a video that that Heidi had interviewed some of your own people. It was from a few years ago, but it's still on your website. And part of that was getting, at the time, you had about 300 people that were on MAT. And there in your brochure, when you talk about it, there were a number of people who say, if not for this, I wouldn't have been able to deal with what I had gotten into. And so we love that. We also suggested that we delve much more into peer support and into recovery coaching, which are things that are happening on a broad scale now. And that we had a centralized place that you could go in the state to find out where you can get treatment. So now Julian Sear, Senator Sear, and I are on a conference committee with the goal of making this governor's order of allowing places like Duffy and other hospitals and practitioners to be able to deliver services over telehealth, to make that a permanent thing. And I want to see this come to a positive conclusion, because what we're finding out is, and it's something that you've found out yourself, it can be very, very effective when you're dealing with your patients, particularly in the area of mental health, when the number of practitioners that we have is just out of alignment with the number of people who need those services. And telehealth is a very efficient way to push that treatment and make it convenient for people. So if there's a positive side, the silver lining in the COVID-19 cloud, that would be one of them, and we intend to make that permanent. So with that, I'll just say thank you very much for the Advocacy Award. It's something that I have spent a lot of time over the last 10 years, and it's absolutely worth every minute of my time to work with Heidi and Mary and the rest of the people at Duffy, who are really the boots on the ground and the real troopers to make sure that people have the services that they need, even in these strange times that we're living in currently. So thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you so much. Just a couple of things. One is that I think it's great that you watched my TV show. My TV show has been canceled and replaced by a more modern podcast that we call Health Matters Cape Cod, which addresses in individual episodes, addresses the social determinants of health. And it's hosted by Sarah Grambach. And you can, folks who are part of the meeting can go on our website and access Health Matters Cape Cod and get the modern version of learning about what Duffy does, but also more importantly, what's going on in our community. And that's the way we see ourselves, as really working community-wide, which we'll talk about in a minute. Recovery coaching, I was saying earlier today in a meeting, we are way ahead, of the country because of the work that our legislature has done to move recovery coaching forward in Massachusetts. And I am really grateful to hear that you're working or supporting on making telehealth a permanent change. As I said earlier, one of the things that we've learned is that telehealth is effective. We don't want to do telehealth all the time. That's not that's not the best care that we can provide, but certainly telehealth under certain clinical protocols is certainly just as effective as face-to-face care. We're just so glad that you're enlightened. It's too bad that it took a pandemic for us to all realize how important telehealth is. But I just, again, want to say thank you, and we wish you the best and hope that you get a chance to put your feet up and relax a little bit, not have to put so many miles on your car, driving back up and down to Boston. And you should just really hope you can rest on your laurels and rest assured that you did a lot of good for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you so much.
I thank you for that.
So let's move forward, Caroline. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, this is our special award for 2020, because everything is different in 2020. And you can, I don't know if you can see Randy's car with the mask on the front of his car, which I think is hilarious. So we decided that what we wanted to do was really graphically express and show all of the collaboration that has gone on in our community to combat the COVID pandemic, and most importantly, working with people who are homeless. So do you want to start? Go ahead, Caroline, with the next slide. So leading the charge was the County of Barnstable, the Department of Human Services, as I mentioned earlier, with my dear colleague, Beth Albert, who is the director, and Sean O'Brien, who is the head of Health and Human Services for the county and heads up the emergency planning effort for the county, really came together very early on saying, we have to do something. They were fighting COVID and the pandemic in general, but also having a very specific effort looking at the impact of COVID on people who are homeless, and hosted weekly calls for us as a regional network on homelessness to get together and address that. So I'd also like to thank Vera Harik, who's the county epidemiologist, and Dan Gray, who provides support to the regional network. Also, this couldn't have happened, the work that we did related to the COVID hotel in particular couldn't have happened without our valued partnership with Cape Cod Healthcare, former Senior Vice President Paul Niedzwiecki, and of course with the backing and support of CEO Mike Loff. Tens of thousands of dollars of hospital resources went into helping us to create a community-wide response, a COVID hotel response for the homeless. So thank you to those partners. Next slide, please. So here are the people who made the COVID hotel program a reality. The Moda Hotel, the owners of this hotel have just been incredible throughout the pandemic. They are brave people. can you imagine at the end of March, beginning of April, for a human service agency to come to your motel and say, can we please house people here who are homeless and may have COVID? And they said yes, and we are so grateful. We were able to help them to be assured that we were supporting them through providing security through All Cape Security Patrol. Thank you to them. They turned on a dime, helping us to provide security for the hotel program. And the food, the feeding program through Jenny's Joy. Jenny Wheeler has her own catering business, but she's also famous for being the chef for the Faith Family Kitchen. Jenny is just a delight to work with. And the Here Now Outdoor Ministries, which is a ministry that was formed by our own Pam Wani, a Duffy staff person who is our spiritual care provider, working with church partners to bring food to the hotel program. So thank you. Next slide, please. So this group is just incredible. The Catholic Social Services and who run St. Joseph's House, Champ Homes, which is a transitional housing program helping people who have been homeless to get back on their feet. And people are also very familiar with Homeless Not Hopeless, which provides a congregate housing model for people who are trying to end their homelessness. This group of shelter and housing providers, believe it or not, through their attention to protocols related to COVID and infection control, kept their staff and their guests 100% negative for COVID. That is an incredible accomplishment, and we will never forget what a difference they made in our community. Next slide, please. So we had, as I said earlier, the housing programs necessarily to keep everybody healthy had to depopulate, so we ended up with more people on the street. But then the census for these housing programs went down, so we wanted to have a system where we could reintegrate these folks who were out on the street back into the shelter and to the residential programs. And the way we decided to do that was through more testing of people in the community. We also partnered with Hyannis Fire, which received their initial bolus of 200 COVID testing kits from our state delegation and with the nursing staff from Cape Cod Healthcare. We all worked together to test the facilities universally and then to test people so that they could get cleared to go into the residential programs. We'd also like to thank Relief Home Health, which provided on-site nursing care for those individuals who were sick at the who needed follow-up, let me say it that way, at the residential programs. And Tom Keene, the public health coordinator for the town of Barnstable, who was our great partner, providing advice and counsel to us. And as some of you may not know, that on the Cape, we do our own contact tracing through the town health agency. So thank you so much to the health department of the town of Barnstable. Next slide, please. Pat talked about our feeding program. And our breakfast program. You can see the Federated Church of Hyannis, which provided the location. Their kitchen next to their fellowship hall has a big window that we can open, and it goes along the alley that goes by the church, goes right by that window. So our staff and AIDS support group and Barnstable PD Police Department are out in the alley greeting the clients. The volunteers from the Medical Reserve Corps and from the Here Now Ministries would hand the breakfast out the window to those individuals every day. We served upwards of 15 to 20 people every day through the breakfast program. Before, very early on, when everything shut down, we had a number of restaurants that just said, how can we help? The Daily Paper, the Common Ground Cafe, and Wendy's provided meal cards and actual meals, takeaway meals for our people who were homeless and had nothing to eat out on the street. So thank you to them. And then ongoing, our food program support has been through the Mi Pueblo restaurant. Faith Family Kitchen, which is operated by the Council of Churches, continued their regular meal program throughout the pandemic, the program that they have done for a number of years now through the Faith Assembly Church on Bursa's Way. Their volume has doubled because of the pandemic, and so their services have been really important to us. And then finally, I would just like to give a shout out to my friend and colleague, Dan McCullough, and Team M25 for every now and then sending a check to support the feeding program. So thank you to Team M25. Next slide, please. So Pat also talked about our shower program. Why are we, so MEMA, Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency, if you've been through our parking lot, you will see our big silver trailer with 2 shower units in it. One weekend after a call that was called by Senator Sear about what we needed to do urgently to help the homeless. And MEMA came down 2 days later with a brand new shower trailer. So we're just grateful for their quick response. Urology Associates, why are we recognizing them? They are our landlords, and they said it was okay for us to put the shower in the parking lot and to have unsheltered homeless folks congregate in the parking lot 3 times a week. CORD, which is a disability rights organization, operates a mobile food pantry. They come to the shower program weekly to provide food support to our unsheltered clients. Barnstable Police Department is always on staff, is always there to help, as is AIDS Support Group of Cape Cod, doing their special outreach to our unsheltered homeless, many of whom have untreated mental health issues and substance use disorders. And the Cape Cod Council of Churches, which has been magnificent, as Pat mentioned, clean clothes. We don't accept general clothing donations. We say very specifically to the Council of Churches, we need this many fleeces, we need this many bags of underwear, we need socks, we need bras, we need all these different kinds of clothing items, and they will purchase and bring to us specific shoe sizes, jean sizes. They have just been magnificent through this crisis. Next slide, please. So as you can imagine, COVID created a whole new set of infection control measures that we had to follow. And so we were very happy internally that our cleaning company that would normally come in like any office company and clean every night, upped their services with resources that we had through the federal government to pay for it, to come and be on site all day, every day, cleaning exam rooms in between every patient. So Miranda's Painting and Services has really come through for us, as well as our new cleaning partner, Made to Clean, which is the company that cleans the showers. Every time somebody uses the shower, it's thoroughly cleaned in between. And they're also the company that provides the super cleaning of the hotel rooms for the COVID motel after people are discharged from the COVID motel program. Next slide, please. You've heard in the news all about PPE. We were in the same circumstance and the same situation as every other healthcare provider, that we didn't have enough masks, we didn't have enough gowns, we didn't have enough special suits that we should have been wearing out in the parking lot to keep ourselves safe in the shower program. And we can't say enough about the national organization Direct Relief, which has somehow got these different supplies and got them shipped to us. They are a not-for-profit, so we didn't have to pay for that PPE. And then through the Mass League of Community Health Centers, which had a whole operation bringing PPE to the community health centers. So thank you so much. And now what we're trying to do is figure out how we stockpile our PPE in case we have a surge, which of course we're expecting. So thank you to our PPE partners. Next slide. Okay, so Randy talked about telehealth, and This has just been an amazing transformation for the healthcare system overall, but also for Duffy Health Center. InSource is a company that works with us to help modify our EMR whenever we need to, creating new templates, and they really helped us out to kind of make the shift to telehealth. And Community Care Cooperative is a network of community health centers that are working together. One of the project of C3 is to raise $5 million to help community health centers transition to telehealth. And they incorporated us and included us in their network. So thank you to our technology partners. And last but not least, it has just been so gratifying to Sarah and myself and all of our managers that our unbelievable community partners, our donors, came forward unsolicited to say, how can we help? What do you need? Our banking partners, our bank foundation partners, Eastern Bank, the Coop, and Cape Cod 5 stepped up right away. Our ongoing wonderful Beth Bowman and Kristen O'Malley from the United Way and Cape Cod 5, always coming forward, again, unsolicited, making contributions, but also responding when I had to come to them and say, we need your help getting this feeding program and the shower program up and running, and they didn't hesitate and came up collectively with $25,000 to help support those programs. And last but not least, BJ's, who every now and then at the beginning of the pandemic would just show up with trays of food. They were going around town trying to support healthcare workers just by helping to feed them. And we were just so grateful to have sandwiches and cookies and other kinds of nutrition for our staff who were working on site at the beginning of the pandemic. And of course, all of you, many of you who are on this call, your individual donations that go to support Duffy Health Center and all the people that you've heard from and seen win awards today, but also just the basic infrastructure of Duffy, but also specifically your gifts that have gone to help us fight COVID. So thank you so much. We can't thank you enough. So next slide, please. Isn't that just amazing? This mosaic of organizations that have come together, people, individuals, and organizations to make sure that people who are experiencing homelessness are safe and healthy during the pandemic. I have said many times at the beginning and at this time that we could predict that this crisis would either break us down or build us up. I believe that our community and our partnerships are stronger today than they were a year ago. And I, for one, plan to carry that sentiment forward in our work. So thank you again to everybody for your support. And now I'll turn it back over to Kathleen to send us out.
Thank you very much, Heidi. It really is an extraordinary picture that you painted there with all of the organizations and people that come together and just do amazing things for this community and people who have, are in vulnerable situations. So, I don't want to take too much time here, but obviously, we have to give you some housekeeping agenda items before we send you off. There's going to be things that are coming down the way over the holidays. Obviously, some that you will recognize. We've done them in the past. The Duffy Doings, the printed edition, will be hitting homes the end of this week, I think, or if you haven't had it already. And we'll launch the digital issue via eBlast, Facebook, etc. on the 3rd, so tomorrow, which is a big day, tomorrow, November 3rd. So everybody get some rest today.
Sorry, Kathy, put it in the chat as well.
Okay, great. So all of this will be on the chat. I'm sure there'll be other communications, probably on the website too, Christina, I would imagine.
Yes.
Great. There'll be an appeal letter that starts hitting homes the week of November 16th. Our holiday card will go out in December. Our impact report will be mailed the week of January 4th. I say these things not for you to write them down and to remember every mailing that's coming, but it's just to remind you that, this has been an amazing season of giving, but we're not, our need is not changing. So we just ask you to, really think in your heart of what you can do for Duffy over the next several months, how you can give, whether it's financially or ways for volunteering or dropping off supplies or whatever will be asked of you. It has been an extraordinary honor to work with this team over the last several months. Again, we would not be here in this positive position without all of the amazing people, especially the staff, the board, and all of the people who donate. So I just wanted to end the evening with a thank you to everyone and a ask to continue your efforts to help Duffy be sustainable and to really increase our financial stability as we do what we're supposed to do. We are here restoring health. We are rebuilding lives. And with that, I say goodnight. Good job, everybody, and have a great week. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.